Hello, and welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spinning that dial on the YouTube network in my direction and watching my channel. Appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy my sharing of the adventures exploring the wide world of pens. And you see one rotating in front of you, and yes, it is crab and turntable worthy, in my estimation. It's certainly a unique pen, and it's a pen that I'm certain one of my viewers will enjoy when they receive it. A lot of colors in there, interesting details. Mr. Sizemore, who knows the eventual owner quite well, goes, "I like it. Some of those colors look kind of like me." And he's right. So let's zoom in a little bit to see if we can appreciate some more details of this resin as it rotates. And we can see that nice cap band, that bow tie roll stop. It's nice. So we're going to explore this pen real quickly, compare it to some of its relatives, and show you how that nib writes. Stay tuned. Mr. Crab is saying, "I'll fart in your general direction." But no, he's going to come around and say, "I wink at you. Great pen." So as we saw on the rotating turntable, this is a very interesting resin. Lots of color in it. You have some hatch pattern, some cracked ice pattern, some pearlescence. It's very nicely done. I don't think I have another pen quite like this. That bow tie roll stop kind of blends in nice. And there's some sparkly inside of that deep red finial on top of the cap, and an interesting design. The cap takes a little less than 2 turns, and we'll see a section of the same material as the rest of the pen, and we'll also see interesting engraving on that nib. Yes, it's a cat theme pen, and it is extra fine. Just your standard injection molded feet on the back. And as we unscrew the section as expected, we see just a standard converter. There's a spring in there that's going to come out. And let's just keep going. Does that nib unit unscrew? Not with what I'm willing to put pressure on for. We'll check inside to see if it's glued in place. But that's the pen. So let's look at some of its nearby relatives. Stay tuned. Here's the AliExpress listing for the pen that I bought. There's a lot of different colors. Here's an example of one of the colors that you can get. And here's all of the colors that I could find. Just a great variety. And there's also some different roll stops. I thought this depiction of the pen that I brought was very, very nice. And there's also a philosophy regarding the making of the pen, which I found to be very interesting. Yes, the understanding of the English language might be a little bit weak, but the intention's there, and the ideas are presented very, very well. And of course, it's nice to see them labeling all the dimensions of the pen. It's a good purchasing experience. The pen disassembles fairly nicely. If you don't like the bow tie roll stop, you can unscrew the finial. But the way this is designed, there's always going to be a little gap there. And I did pull apart the converter. This collar is sometimes shredded. Took a little bit of effort to pull it apart. I silicone greased the threads and the piston. After I flushed the nib with soapy water and stuff, it came out fairly easily. As expected, it's just a standard plastic feed, and there's your section. There's the pen in pieces. Take advantage of some nice crystal clear winter sunlight coming in, just to show off this resin with that light. Very nice. I enjoy it. Something a little different. Nice and colorful. Great. So you may ask, what other cute pens do I have that have somewhat of a cat roll stop or a cat theme to them? Here's the Pen BBS 486. Very nice model. I like the design. I wasn't a fan of this roll stop. It's heavy. It's a cast piece of metal. And here's a Bobby Custom resin pen, which just has a metal ring on it. Could be like a pinky ring, slides off. It's fairly sturdy, so it's going to stay there unless you're going to remove it. And of course, when I bought the 486, I could not just buy one, I had to buy two. I think this is Galaxy Finish, and it has a silver cat on it, but you can feel how that weight in the cap is way too much. So there's my idea of cap pens, and the resin in the Bobby pen is quite nice, and so is this, I think it's called Moon River in the Pen BBS pen. Here's a look at these roll stops up close for those that like detail. Yes, they're cute. This is the ink I put in the pen. Just thought it would be a great combo. And the ink does have some decent red sheen to it. The chromatography shows it's just a pretty intense deep blue. The swab over here looks a little purple to my eyes, but then I'm not the best person to judge color. But I like how this looks on paper. Let's see how it works in that extra fine nib. Now it's time for some editorial comment on this pen. Well, those of you that have followed my channel and heard me talk about many of the pens that I really enjoy, I enjoy this pen. Interesting design. Wish the cap came off in less turns, but it is less than 2. I love the design on the nib. Yeah, there's nice little details that make the pen good. So I didn't talk about it, but yes, you can post the cap. It does not post very deep. It does change the balance, and it's not completely secure. We'll give you the dimensions of the pen. That section for me is a little bit on the small side. We'll show you the dimensions of that section so you can put it in perspective. So let's put some Tesla coil ink on this Fabriano paper. I'm impressed with this nib. I haven't done anything to it. As soon as I inked it up, it wrote well, and it's continued to write well. And for an extra fine nib, it's fairly smooth. You do get some feedback. You're always going to get feedback, I think, with an extra fine nib. So let's rate this pen. I'm going to give it a 9.3. It gets 2 checks for being cute. It gets 1 check because it's well made. The nib is okay, but it's not great. Extra fine is not my preference, but the end user of this pen likes extra fines. After some smoothing, I really like the nib even more. I give it an 8 out of 10. So if you've enjoyed this quick look at a pen you probably didn't know existed, and now you do, and that may or may not influence your decisions on future pen acquisitions. Thank all of you very much for watching. I hope this video finds you safe, healthy, and happy, enjoying your pens, putting ink on paper. I certainly enjoy it. We've reached the end of this video, and we're going to say bye. That puts down a nice line with that Tesla coil. I like it.